Well, yep, it's theme park Bazza. Bit of a different vlog today, more of a personal vlog. Welcome to today's and what will be a continuous vlog over however long this takes to resolve.
Are we at the end or are we at the start? 129 beats per minute from my heart. Anywhere with you is where I long to roam. Night or day, I'm taking you all the way. 'Cause my heart screams, let me carry you home.
I am here in Metro West in Orlando at the medical centre to have some tests done. So just to catch you up, today's August 29th. In July, mid-July, I had my annual checkup. And I think we talked about this on the vlogs we did around medical care, that annual checkups are free. So we do those every year. And part of that is you have your bloods done every year. Some of my bloods things came back a bit weird this time. A few things were out of range, which was not normal. One of the things that did concern my doctor, and I'll put it up here on the screen, was the levels that are to do with indications of the health of the prostate. So normally, and last year's results was 2.0. This year's came back, as you saw, at 4.2. So that AG thing has doubled in a year. And looking at the results, it said that could indicate inflamed or infected prostate. And the doctor wanted me to get it sorted and have a specialist look at it, as we talked about in that vlog. Specialists deal with all this thing. So I went back, and then I went back online through the medical group we use. Looked at ones in the area that we could go to, specialists. I found two. One could have got me in a little bit sooner, but their attitude seemed a bit like, you are very lucky to have us, a bit snooty and a bit snappy, and they wanted, you need to fill all this out and do this. So I tried this group that I'm with now, who were completely different, very helpful, very apologetic. Their specialists are booked up way ahead, but she worked with me. Today I'm seeing the specialist assistant because she could get me in sooner. She was working with me, looking at locations to say, can we get you on a bit nearer? Can we, where you live, so you don't have to drive as far? Because I didn't want to go north of Orlando because it's crazy up there. Put me on a wait list. She went into the system and she could see who I was, who my doctor was, what the blood works were. And literally in the last 6 weeks to arrive here today, they've sorted everything out. They've got a letter from the medical group I use with permission to have treatment, all that stuff. I didn't have to do anything. And even when I filled in the pre-forms to come here today, I did them all online. So there was no filling paperwork in. So it's a lot easier. Everything's integrated, and I have a little app, my chart app, that a lot of different medical groups use that you can download. I could register, I could pre-register for the appointment. As soon as I walk in this building, apparently my phone will tell them that I'm here. Just a lot more organized. So I'm going to take you with me. I don't know what I'll be able to film inside, but we're going to talk to the, what I'm told is the meet and greet, this one, where they talk a bit about what's been going on, what the next steps are. The only thing that has been going on, and the only thing I noticed over the last year, is getting up more in the night to the bathroom. So usually it was once a night, and in the last year it's been twice. I just put that down to age, but that can be a sign of the prostate problem as well. And then the treatment things is what I'm guessing, and I spoke to our Chloe, because she deals with a lot of these cases in her work, is they'll normally do like an MRI, I'm assuming, or some kind of examination to see if the prostate is inflamed or enlarged, and then they will go from there. And this is quite common in men of a certain age. I'm 58, and as you get into that 60 thing, then that is quite common. So that's why it's very important to have your medicals every year and your blood tests. And if something comes up, it's easier to fix it now as kind of a preventative type of world than wait till something breaks and then you're in a whole world of problems and treatment. So here we are. It's I got a little time to wait until my appointment, but I'm going to try and get in a bit early. See if I can see them early. See this specialist, and this vlog will last as long as this journey lasts. So we'll go through the whole analysis. We'll go through the recommendations as to how we the treatment plan, and we'll go through the treatment and see what it is. So I don't know what this vlog entails, what it holds for us all, but stick with us, and we'll go into Orlando Health is where I am today, and we'll go into one of their offices. The actual specialist I'm using is actually even nearer to where we live, but I say he was booked up, so I'm a little bit further out, but better to get it seen sooner, and then I think he's booked up for another month before he can see me, but we can put a treatment plan together and then sort it out with him. So let's go in and see what it's all about. Right, so far they've done a urine sample. They didn't tell me about that. I wish they'd done. I had told me before we came, but I had a cup of coffee in the waiting room. And then they got an ultrasound machine and they scanned my bladder to check if it's empty or not. And now they're going to look at go and check the urine, look at the medical records from the other doctors, and then I'll see the main doctor after all that's been done. It's like, put gel on, scan around your bladder. So I don't know what's going on yet, but we'll find out when the doctor gets here. And I'm just sat here in this nice waiting room. Okay, well, I'm just stopped at the lights on the way home. I was in there about an hour and a quarter. Didn't quite go as well as I hoped, but we'll head back home and then we'll regroup with Maxine and I'll update you all what happened. Right, I'm back. It's sore. So I thought I'd catch Max up. I have my folder with all the stuff. So what happened was I went in there and they made me do a urine sample, which they hadn't told me about. But luckily I've been drinking coffee in reception and I waited half an hour, so I had about a lot. So we did that and then took the blood pressure, which of course was high as normal. Questions, whatever. I did the urine sample. It's funny, that app, that My Thingy app? I actually got the results back on my phone before she came in to see me.
Wow.
So I could see what they were. There was one thing that was slightly out of range, which was something to do with blood in the urine, but she says don't worry about it. Sometimes she'd send it off for a check at the labs, and if there's less than 3 blood cells, it's not to worry about. But she did recommend, when she saw me 4.3 on the other one, doing another blood test.
Okay.
To see, and the plan one then was to do another blood test, see how that went, and then she sent that off to the labs. If that was clear, would be good. Then she says, okay, I'm going to examine your prostate now. I'm like, okay. She's like, drop your trousers. So I'm like, okay.
I thought you were just going to talk about things today.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, they did do a scan. They did like a scan, an ultrasound of the bladder, and that came back good as well.
Good.
So the bladder was clear. So at that point, she was like, no problems. So it's like, drop your trousers. And so yes, I have had another woman hold my penis and my testicles today. I was going to send him pay her, but I probably will end up paying.
You'll pay big time.
Yeah. And she said, you're glad that I'm doing this, she said, because I've got smaller fingers than the main doctor. She said, so you'll be very happy that I'm doing this. So yeah, so they kind of did the old cough test that I haven't done since I was about 13 to check for hernias, which was good. Then she continued then to insert her finger up my bottom, which was a bit weird. And then they actually feel the prostate. Yeah. And what she said, there was some firmness on the right hand side of the prostate. She goes, if I'd have done that test and everything was good, I wouldn't have worried. Because now we're going on to plan B for your next steps. So I've got a folder here. I've still got to do the bloods and book that to see if the number still comes back high. She's also given me a form in here to book an MRI to have a scan on it to see what that firmness is, which I've got to book. And again, with these, you've got to go back to like the medical app, find somebody local who'll do it.
Yeah.
Provider in service, and then book another appointment. Of course, all this happens now. I've retired, and I've got no money coming in. Typical.
Yeah, typical.
And then what she said is if it comes back that there is something there, then they have to. The only way they can tell, even in today's age, is to do a biopsy.
Right.
And she says, and he's already booked up till November. So she recommended we make an appointment for a biopsy. Well, basically, I'm taking a step forward. Have the MRI, have the blood test, go back and see her in 6 weeks. I have another appointment in 6 weeks to go and review the results. But she's pretty much sure that I'll probably need to do the biopsy. So what they do with that is you go to wherever the doctor is, they knock you out for the day, and they go up your bum and take a sample of it. And so the good thing is if you have an MRI, they overlay that
and
they'll be able to see where to go to get that. But she says obviously it's not the most hygienic environment, so they put you on an IV drip of antibiotics. They give you antibiotics, but there's a good chance you'll get an infection.
Nice.
So there's like 2 or 3% chance you could get an infection afterwards, and you might be on more antibiotics.
Right.
And then she says when we do that, she says we probably want to check the bladder as well. And so what I'm saying, because basically we take a camera and we shove it up your penis.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. She goes, if you like, we can do it all at the same time.
Well, you're out.
Well, you're out.
That's probably a good idea.
Oh, she says it's much better than coming back here and having it done. She says, because if it comes back and the biopsy is positive, before they do any treatment, they'll want to check the position of the bladder and everything and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, yeah. Well, I'm knocked out. Do that. So I should be getting a call in the next week from his surgeon to make an appointment for November time, which you have to be careful because we're going to England around that time, so that's going to work. And then I need to when we've had a cup of tea, I need to get upstairs and get these forms and go and find a blood test and go and find an MRI scan to be done before the 6 weeks when I go back and see her, which is like October. So that's it. Perhaps not the best.
Not a great afternoon then.
No. But you're better to be proactive, I think. Kind of scary, but...
well, at least they can figure it out quickly.
Yeah. So I've had my first... And apparently you have to have a... Every year you have to have a test.
Yeah.
Whatever, test your prostate. After that, so I just said I'll just make sure I ask for her.
Okay.
And not him if he's got big fingers.
Yeah.
Because you want to meet the surgeon first? I said, no, not really. I said, I know he's got big fingers, so I'll just meet him on the day. She said it's a 1-day procedure, you're in and you're out, but you will need a driver because you'll go under like a general anaesthetic. They will knock you out. Although it's better to have one anaesthetic and get it all done at that time. So we'll see. We'll keep this vlog going, but that's where we are today, is we don't know the diagnosis, but we do know the steps to get to a diagnosis at this point. But there you go.
Fun times.
Yeah. I feel my back, I'm sore and it's like aching down here now and it's poking around. But I'll have a cup of tea and I'll go upstairs and I'll...
Maybe you need the rum today. Get the bottle out.
Yeah. I'll tell you one funny thing as well. She said to me, elevated levels of PSA could also be due to you riding the bicycle or having sex just before you had the blood test. Can you remember, did you do any of those things? Remember, this was in June when I had my blood test.
Right.
And I just looked at her and said, well, I definitely wasn't riding a bike. So I haven't got a bike, so I said we can rule that one out right away. To which she laughed. Well, it was like June the 17th, I don't know, let's see. Anyway, so yeah, we'll go and set all that up. Stay tuned, and we'll just keep this vlog going and give you updates as we progress. Right, welcome back. Today is the Friday, August the... What is it now? The day after we filmed the last one.
It is August 30th.
August 30th, yes. So a few things have happened since then. Took me a while to get to sleep last night because my head was spinning with all kinds of things. So what happened in the middle of the night, Max?
Oh, fire alarms in the house decided to go off.
Yeah, well, it's in that back bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I've had problems with that one once before, but 5 a.m. this morning, we were both jumping around the house looking for where the fire was.
Yeah.
And there was no fire, was there?
No.
No. So that was great. That's where I got bloodshot eyes, which is very good. I got lots of blood because that's where I'm going at the moment. We're just outside the phlebotomist. I know what a phlebotomist is. So I have my orders from the doctor for doing everything. I have fasted. I managed to get an appointment online yesterday. Unfortunately, the first appointment is like 1 o'clock, 10 past 1. So I've not eaten anything, though. Drunk lots of water, so hopefully can get the blood out. So she can take the bloods, which again is to see if that level 4.2 or 4.3 is gone down. And also the bloods I had done yesterday, sorry, the urine sample I had done yesterday, she sent it off to the microbiologist to look at it, that thing about the blood in the urine. And at 7 a.m. this morning I had the results back from that. This app's brilliant, the My Health app, which said negative. So that's good from that. So she did say don't trust those dipstick things. She sends it off to get it checked, so that is good. Also, in the system she'd already ordered the prescription. So this is the antibiotics I talked about yesterday. If we go ahead with the November biopsy, then you have to take antibiotics before, during and after, because as I say, it's not a sterile environment for doing that. But today is to go and get the bloods. I tried all day yesterday to get an MRI appointment for scanning the prostate. And I finally got through this morning, and the earliest appointment they have is 6 weeks away. So it's like second week of October, which was the day after I'm supposed to go back and see the doctor to get the results from all these tests. So I picked that date, I scheduled that one, 9:45 in the morning to go and have the MRI. She did say to me, "Are you claustrophobic?" And I said, "Well, we'll find out, won't we?" As they dragged me out screaming from it. So I don't know.
It's
so,
not that bad.
Yeah, so you've had your done on your knee, but did you have to put your all the way in for your knee?
No, only up to my waist.
Yeah, well, I'll be probably up to my head. We'll see.
Why?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
It's not up near your head, babe.
Oh, well. So yeah, it was right hard because I went on to the medical provider and looked for places that had it, but she had a telephone number of the Orlando Health where we went to yesterday, and they could get into the same system. Another on My Health. The app's already set up the dates and everything, and we're good to go on that. So yeah, so that is, and then I'll go and see her 2 days after. So that'll probably be the next part of this vlog once we get the results of the MRI, or maybe take you along to the MRI as well. You'll probably come along with me, won't you?
Yeah.
To the MRI. We'll go along to the MRI together in about 6 weeks' time. So now, well, actually, I'll give you an update on the bloods. They should come through tomorrow. In fact, sometimes it might come through today. Yeah. On the bloods, and see if that's still. It won't affect the MRI and going getting that done, but it'll be good to see if it's still holding at the 4.3 level. And actually, the last bloods I had were actually in January that they could see, and it was only 2.4 in January, so it went from 2.4 to 4.3 in 6 months.
It's not good.
So that was a bit weird. But anyway, we'll go to the phlebotomist. She'll stab me in about 10 minutes. We'll go in there, and then we will go and get something to eat, because I am starving.
Starving.
We might get to Miller's, go and have a...
You're going to have a coffee as well.
Oh, and a coffee, yeah.
You didn't have coffee today.
Yeah. I'm not...
Great.
And not today when we've been awake since 5 a.m. with the fire alarms. Okay, so we'll catch up in a short while. Hi everybody, it's now September the 2nd. I finally got the results back from the blood test. It was a bit delayed because it was Labour Day here, so the labs were closed. But as far as I can see, everything looks pretty normal. The CBC, they looked all within range. The comprehensive metabolic looked within range. And then the PSA total that we got, the PSA is 3.2. Remember, it was 4.3 last time. Anything below 4 is good. It's still up from 2 point something it was, but it's not at that 4 level. The other one I don't know is there's one at the bottom of that list called a PSA free quest of a value of 28. And then there's a lot of formulas underneath, and I have no idea if that's good or not. But once we have the MRI in about 6 weeks, then we'll go back. I will go back to the doctor, and she will go through these results along with the MRI. I will know more, but yeah, as far as what I can tell from the blood results, everything looks pretty normal. But we'll get back to you in about 6 weeks, which in this vlog will be about now. And just like that, it's the 12th of October. 6 weeks have passed, just like an instant, so quick. So we are here at the Orlando Health Center, just north of Dr. Phillips, for my MRI. That's a magnetic resonance imaging, that's the one, MRI, which basically they're going to stick me in a long tube with magnets that spin round, and the magnets, unlike x-rays, can actually look at organs and give a 3D image of what the prostate looks like. I presume I'll be going in feet first, because the prostate has to be in the middle of the thing. They say it's about an hour. I've got to be here half an hour before. They said 15 minutes on the call yesterday. Half an hour before to check in. I really don't know the procedure, because there's very little online about it. It gives different ones for different ones. I've not received a lot of pre-information on this. So I followed some of the rules they gave us for preparing for this, but I don't really know. I haven't got my watch on. I'll have to give you my phone. We'll take the camera in with us. I don't know how much we're going to be able to film in there. Probably just in the changing room when I change, but Max will be here with me to drive me back as well and hold me hand. Hold me hand. So hopefully in an hour we'll be through this, but let's go inside, check in, and go through the next step of this process. Well, they wouldn't let any video in there, would they? No. So an hour has passed now, and we are out. I am out.
You're out.
It's so cold 'cause it's freezing,
in there.
So first time I've done an MRI before. Scary as shit for me. If they offer you drugs to knock you out, take them. But
it's a little bit claustrophobic, isn't it?
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was just the unknown of what was happening. I mean, I did go in head first, but my head was kind of stuck out. Okay. But they put headphones on you. There's no music. Closer they played music, there was no music.
You could probably ask for it.
They were doing the machine, but I think I was in there an hour, and he said one word to me halfway through, like, "You doing okay?" And that was it. Unfortunately, they knocked out the cannula going in, so the most painful thing is to put another one in. They couldn't get it in my arm, so to do it in my wrist, and that was the most painful thing. It's like, just sleep. But I had to I was panicking at points. You had to like do deep breaths to. I don't get easily panicked, but
No.
because you just don't know, and the whole thing shakes.
Oh yeah, it's
The
very
whole machine,
noisy.
no, it's
and
not noisy. It shakes physically.
Yeah,
It's
it
like getting a
does.
back massage.
Yeah, and it vibrates a lot.
Yeah, but it's like I was in there for an hour.
Yeah.
It's a long time, and there's no clock, so you don't know what time is passing.
No.
So it seems like forever. And because like it keeps changing the pulse and the rhythm, you can't kind of relax because something else is changing and something
Yeah.
else is changing. So it had to be done.
Did you get wrapped up in blankets though?
I asked them to put a blanket on me because it was freezing in
know,
there.
yeah.
But that's what knocked the cannula out, so that's why I got my emergency one on. So I got to drink lots of water now. The other thing they said is she'll tell you halfway through when they put the contrast in, and I was getting all wound up because I'm like, I've been here forever, and we're going to do all this again with the contrast, and he wheels me out, and he knocked that one out, wheeling me out, so
Right.
that tore out. And then he's like, oh yeah, no, I've done the contrast. I'm like, oh, I thought you were going to tell me. But I didn't feel like I needed to pee or anything. There was none of that sensation or burning sensation.
Right.
But in my head, I was waiting for him to tell me, and I thought I've got to have to sit through this all again. It's taking forever. But no, apparently it's through. They've now got to send it off to radiology to get the results. I've got to drink lots of water to flush this contrast out my system. Well, we got the meet-up later today at the Stargazers, so I'll be driving on Coke and water.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how you go.
You need a strong drink. I think you need a strong drink more than I do today,
I
don't you?
don't do needles or
Yeah, I don't-
cannulas
and
or
twos.
anything. And two of them.
Tearing both of them out. Well, that hurt. But yeah, we're going to go and grab something to eat now because it's 11 o'clock. Not eating today. You're not supposed to eat or drink caffeine. I need a coffee. This camera's probably glad I've got the anti-shake on this camera because my hand's probably
You are shaking a
quite a
little
bit. You have to come in out. Let's go and get a coffee, and we'll catch you up probably later on when we get the results back. Hey up! It is now the day after. It's now the 13th of October. So we got back here about 1 o'clock yesterday after the MRI scan, and we went out to have something to eat. And the test results came in about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When I booked the MRI, they said you're going to allow 2 weeks for the results, or 10 days, and then make an appointment with your doctor to review them. But we had them yesterday, so I this morning went online and made an appointment. I moved it to actually in 2 days. I'll go in and see my doctor and we'll review them together. But obviously the results are posted the way it works over here in the computer system, so I can see them. So I had a look at them yesterday, but I wasn't really in the right frame of mind after seeing them to record anything, kind of too emotional. And also we had the meet-up yesterday evening. But I'll put up here, I've got them here on the screen, but I'll put up here what I see. And then I'll talk about kind of how I kind of looked into that a little bit. So as I put it up here, this is the first 3 lines of the report. And the first line says, PIRADS 3, intermediate, the presence of clinically significant cancer is equivocal. And basically, the rest of the report I didn't get past that line. So I went straight to a dark place, as you do, emotionally. And I just kind of couldn't really absorb any of the rest of it. And, sort of in a bad place. But what I found is through life, when emotion gets into things, and this was through my work career as well, the best way to deal with it is go back, start again, and try and take the emotion out of it and stick to the data, stick to the facts. Like when we did with the hurricane, stick to the data, stick to the facts, not the emotion or the drama of something. So I went and had a cup of tea and then started doing some research on the internet. Now, I'm not going to self-diagnose this myself. What I'm going to do is try and understand it more. So when I get to the doctor on Wednesday, we can have a discussion, because the whole discussion is going to be around, do I need to do a biopsy or do I not need to do a biopsy? And by the way, since I don't think I mentioned it in the vlog, but because biopsies take months to book, I already have one booked for basically about 4 weeks' time, just under 4 weeks' time, for a biopsy in case it was needed. So I can always cancel it, but obviously if I wanted to book one now, I'd be way out in January or February to book one. But there's a risk to a biopsy. A biopsy includes a general anaesthetic, so there's always a risk. Obviously, it's not as we said earlier in the vlog, it's not a hygienic thing, so there's a very high risk of infection as well. And it's the sort of thing, if I want to do that biopsy or it goes ahead, I have to go and see my, not the specialist doctor, my own doctor. I probably have to have an ECG. She has to clear me that I am healthy enough to have a general anaesthetic, and that's quite common here in the US. They won't give you, specialist doctors won't operate on you unless you've had clearance from your own doctor that you're okay to take it. So, you know, there's a lot of risk involved. So it's a matter of when, and don't get me wrong, if it needs a biopsy, I'll have a biopsy. But I was trying to look at this information and say, what does it really mean? So if we take each of these 3 lines one at a time, so I'll read it again. PIRADS 3, intermediate, the presence of clinically significant cancer is equivocal. But then when I started to look at that, what is PIRADS 3? So I started looking into that, and it's a scale. It's 1 to 5, and it's basically what comes back from an MRI with your prostate. And how it works, and if it's PIRADS 1 or 2, you definitely don't have cancer. If it's PIRADS 4 or 5, you definitely do have cancer. And if it's PIRADS 3, it's intermediate, which means they're not sure. And when I looked in more research and read all the research papers I could find online, about 70% of the cases, or maybe not that much, quite a high proportion of the cases come back as 3. It's like your catch-all for everything when they don't know, you know. And so I then started looking into, you know, intermediate PIRADS 3, what does it mean? It does say there's a 9mm posterior midgland lesion, and then I started looking into lesions. Apparently that's quite common. Most men, a very high percentage of men, by the time they get into the 50s and 60s, will have lesions on their prostate. Doesn't mean it's cancerous. It just means you've got a lesion in there that's 9mm. And then they gave me the calculated volume, which is quite important for the, as you'll find later on. But yeah, so those are things looked at, and the rest of the report has more information down the bottom. There's no recommendations in there. It just puts the data out. So I started doing some more research around intermediate, what does it mean? And then I started searching biopsies, and there's a whole debate in various medical papers about is a biopsy really required for intermediate 3? And again, if it's needed, if the doctor says you need one, I'll have one. But I'm just trying to understand. I want to have an educated discussion with her, because like I say, there's a risk for doing that as well. So it'll be 1 or 2 options when we get to with her. It'll be probably another MRI in 6 or 12 months to keep an eye on it, or get this biopsy in November. Those are the 2 options on the table at the moment. So then I looked into that PIRADS 3, and what it says is you then have to look at something called the prostate density. And what a doctor will do if it's a 3, if they're following the recommendations, is they don't just look at the intermediate 3 and automatically recommend a biopsy. They look at your prostate density, they look at your PSA level, and then they will use those, and your age. You know, over 60, you're more at risk. If your PSA is over 4.2, then you're at risk. Mine was 3.2 in the last blood test. And then I found this calculator online. This is just for me, again, you know, you follow your own medical advice on doctors. But what it said was if you put in like the measurements of the prostate that were taken from the MRI that are in this document, and then put in your PSA number, it works out the prostate density, which I guess is how much, I don't know, it's something how, you know, your PSA, how many, whatever it's got in there, if it's significant or not. The calculation came out at my PSA density is 0.06. And if you look at a lot of these white papers on people who, you know, do you get a biopsy, do you not get a biopsy? It said the threshold is 0.15. If it's greater than 0.15, you need a biopsy. If it's less than 0.15, and of course 0.06 is half of that, then you don't need a biopsy. So that's the information we've got at hand at the moment. Again, I'm going to have an informed discussion with the doctor about this. So I'm not going to self-diagnose and just follow that. But I thought it was interesting because that got me in a better frame of mind. I kind of framed it all up in my head yesterday before, because we had the meetup later in the day, and you know, when I read this to start with, I was not in the frame of mind to go and start smiling and shaking hands with people at the meetup. But by the time the meetup came, I kind of you know, used the data to help me frame out what my options were, because my head was going, you got cancer, you got to have a biopsy, to you don't need a biopsy, to, you know, going backwards and forwards. I kind of just settled in the middle ground that we'll have it, you know, move the meeting forward with it. I did message the doctor to let her know. And then we had a great meetup yesterday, and it was nice to kind of take your mind off it for a bit, to go and talk to friends and all the lovely people who come to see us. So today is the 12th. On the 16th, is it the 16th? Yeah, it is the 16th. 13th, sorry, today is the 13th, as I said earlier on. 3 days, I will have my discussion back with the same doctor who gave me the prostate exam, and I'll let you know what how our discussion's gone. And I say it'll be either A or B. It will be continuing. And the good thing you need to know is what if it is a biopsy. I have got a ton of things to arrange in the next 3 weeks. We're going to go and arrange an appointment with my doctor. I've got to get her sign off that I'm fit for fit for, we might have to have an ECG. And again, all this costs money, but we cover it in insurance. ECG, get her to sign off on it, get it arranged with this doctor. Then, of course, they've got to start taking antibiotics before the operation because there's a high chance you'll get infection. Obviously, you have to have somebody with you because they're going to knock you out for the day. There's going to be things like enemas you've got to have to clear you out. There's a whole process that has to kick in if you're going to definitely have a biopsy that really needs to start this week. And that's why I wanted to get in front of my doctor this week to give me another 3-4 weeks to get. And we're going on 2 trips starting this week. We're away for 2 weeks out of those 4 weeks on trips, maybe longer than that, of trips before the biopsy comes in, and getting the biopsy in before we go to the UK and see family. So it's like squeezing it in between all these things. So it's really good to know we've got some time this week to help sort it out. There's an update. Sorry it went on a bit, but I wanted to kind of give you a kind of an honest, open-hearted discussion around what I've been through, and hopefully it may help you if you get in a situation where there's emotion in some kind of in your life doing these things. As I say, I always fall back to look at the data. What is the data saying? How do I interpret the data in line with what I'm reading here? And, it just helps calm your mind down going to dark places and think of the different options available to you. But enough of that. I'll get back to you once we have an update from the doctor.
Right, you join us back, and as you can probably tell by the date at the bottom here, it's not the 16th of October because that day came and went, didn't it?
It did.
We were all dressed and ready to go in the morning, and then they got a phone call saying an emergency had occurred and the doctor couldn't make it. So it was kind of a mad scramble trying to get back in again and get another appointment. So now it's the Tuesday of the week after. I managed to get an 8:30 appointment this morning, which meant we had to get up very early.
Very early we had to get up.
Yeah, but I did treat you to breakfast, didn't I?
Yeah, we went to Wendy's.
Oh yeah, Wendy's breakfast. Wasn't that good?
It wasn't great.
Yeah. So we went to see the doctor today to talk about the results of the MRI. And basically, Max wasn't in there. She was outside waiting in the waiting room. But the conversation went along the lines of, we reviewed the history. And she's like, yeah, your MRI came back as a 3, which is indeterminate. But she says MRIs don't always catch everything. Well, that's great. Now I've had one. She goes, yeah, just really for looking at the mass of the actual prostate itself. And then she said, we can go ahead with the biopsy. But then she said, but biopsies don't always catch everything.
They're not 100%.
No, because she says it's like an apple. A prostate's like an apple, and unless they get the sliver, they'll take about 8 slivers. But unless they get the sliver where you actually have some cancer, then it won't show up.
It won't show up.
It won't show up at all. And then, because my bloods are kind of back to normal and I have no symptoms and the MRI came back as indeterminate, what we decided to do is pause for 3 months. And then in 3 months, she has set up something called a 4K blood test that can only be done by specialists. Somebody specialist here in Orlando. Where I normally go for blood tests, they won't do it because your PSA has to be above 4. And my PSA is at 3.2, so they won't even take me. They said
They won't accept you.
Yeah, they say I don't qualify for it, but I'm sure it costs a lot of money. But we'll get one done. And apparently that looks again at PSA and also looks at, I don't know the right word she used, but kind of pointers towards if you're likely to get prostate cancer. Right. So they look for the traces in the blood that are more specific around prostate rather than just the PSA number. So we have that booked for January to go back. So that's, I think, where we're going to finish the vlog here is because that'll be another 3 months down the road.
Yeah, I've still got to wait.
I'd say my takeaways for you following me on this journey for the last few months have been, if you notice any problems urinating, with erections, with getting up more than you should do, with blood in the urine, then go see a doctor. I don't have any of those symptoms, but they're things you should check out. Have an annual physical, as we did. We may be overreacting to the physical, to the one PSA level that was high, but better to be done. Don't come to Virginia for an MRI if you need one doing, please.
No, don't come to Florida.
To Florida, well, yeah. I was in so we just come back from Virginia. Don't come back to Florida if you're on an MRI, especially not in that centre. But yeah, I would say make sure you do that. And the other thing is, I always believe in be kind to people, because you never know what people are going through emotionally, what things they're bringing into a room and it's always been philosophy at work that you never know, and life really, you never know what baggage somebody's carrying with them. So always be kind to people, say nice things. If you can't say something nice, don't say it. And it's
quiet.
it's really kind of it hits home when you're going through some of this stuff in the back of your head, that we don't always know what somebody else is going through. So be considerate to others, I would say, is what I would recommend. But thanks for watching along this journey. I hope it was useful and some informative for you. As I say, inconclusive are the results at the moment, which is probably as good as we're going. Well, clear would be best.
Clear would be
but
better.
Inconclusive is what we have. So I will report back in 3-4 months after we've had the next round of blood tests and give you a quick update and see if that is any different to what we have today. But appreciate you taking the time out to watch this blog. Hopefully, if you like what we do, please like and subscribe. If you've got any questions about what I've been through, the exams, I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor, so you need to see your own doctor. But I can tell you none of it was really painful apart from the MRI. None of it was really stressful.
Well, it was the cannula.
Yeah.
The MRI is not painful.
Yeah, the MRI is not painful. It's just weird doing that thing. But yeah, message me on our social medias and I will respond and let you, and at least share my thoughts along it. But thanks for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. Again, comment below if you've got any questions and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.